Lady Bird, is that your given name?
Yeah.
Why is it in quotes?
I gave it to myself. It's given to me by me.
I want you to be the very best version of yourself that you can be.
What if this is the best version? It's never actually explained why she called herself Lady Bird, or why she picked that particular name. She just did. And I think the thought behind it is sort of like the way an alternate name can give you an alter ego and something that you can escape into, and kind of in the way that, like, you know, Beyonce has Sasha Fierce and Madonna and Cher and like and all these people. It's given them this other sort of status, like within their own head, and allowed them to be creative and, you know, be this other part of themselves. And I think that is probably the thought process behind it for her.
Saoirse Ronan, I didn't know her before we met about this project, and I had the very special experience that you always hope you have with an actor, but you don't know that you will, which is we met up, and I was a big fan of her work, and I knew she liked the script, and we met up to read it through, and she was going to read all of Lady Bird's lines, and I was going to read everybody else's lines, and it was just the two of us in this room, and she started acting, and I had the distinct impression that a third person had entered the room, and it was Lady Bird, and all the hairs on my arm stood up. And I remember calling someone right after, and I said, I found her. I think we've got a shot.
Hey, I like your band. With Jonah Ruiz, Len Fance-New.
L'Enfance-New.
Well, I saw your Thanksgiving show. My name's Lady Bird.
It's weird you shake hands.
Yeah. I'm friends with Jenna, and she's always talking about how great your band is, so I wanted to check it out.
Maybe I'll see you at the Deuce or something, huh?
Sure. See you at the Deuce.
Hey, I'm not paying you to flirt.
I wasn't flirting.
Wish you had been.
Nobody needs you to make the film, you know, with your first one. It's not like when I was writing it, it wasn't like anyone was sitting there being like, where's that script? They don't know that I'm doing it, which works in both directions because it means you can never do it. No one will ever know that you didn't do it. But it also means that you're sort of free. Like, there are no expectations. If it's dreadful, well, it's dreadful. Nobody needed it to be good.
She had a very clear sense of, like, the type of film she wanted to make. But then within that, I was actually amazed at how much freedom she gave me to find her, to find Lady Bird. And because I am definitely one of those people that I like to have structure and things like that. And I had enough structure and enough guidance from her and could get more of that whenever I needed it. But she also gave me the option to sort of like find it on my own. And I think it takes an awful lot of bravery as well to do that on your first film, to kind of go, this is what I want to make, but within that, like, play and have fun.
I was just trying to find all these little corridors that seemed like there might be something promising, and so you end up writing a lot of in-betweens, and like, I write a lot of scenes actually of people getting from place to place, or people getting ready for a thing, or coming down from a thing, just because it's like we all know the big events, but like, what are all the little things that lead you to the big event?
Does Mom hate me?
If you're tired, we can sit down.
I'm not tired.
You were dragging your feet.
You are so infuriating.
Please stop yelling.
I'm not yelling. Oh, it's perfect.
Do you love it?
You both have such strong personalities.
Primarily, the relationship that I'm interested in is her and her mother, and how that is beautiful and rich and complex and conflict-filled, and sort of all other things that usually mother-daughter relationships. I always say, if you stop anyone on the street and ask them, how's your relationship with your mom? You're never going to get a short answer.
We didn't really get an awful lot of time to rehearse. We only had about like 4 or 5 days to actually do work on the script with each other. And Laurie and I in particular, we probably spent like an afternoon, like a few hours, just going through our argument scenes in particular.
Whatever we give you, it's never enough. It's never enough.
It is enough.
I wanted to feel that in some ways these were evenly matched people and evenly matched talents. And one of the things I remember about them that I loved right away is when I saw the two of them together, they're the same height. They're the exact same height. And I ended up giving them the same haircut so that when they're in profile, they look like flip sides of the same coin, which was an idea I was playing with, because that's why I think the fights are so intense, is because it's like they can hit each other with the same power.
Laurie comes from the theatre and so likes to do a lot of table work, which was so great for us because she just really put an awful lot of thought into the structure of each argument scene and how they differed and what the trigger points were for both of the characters in each one, you know, and like how emotional it was or how hot-headed it was and what was the new piece of information that the audience are going to get from each one. And it was great the way they had scheduled it because we got to film all of our scenes together that came after our opening scene. So the car scene, that first introduction to these people, was actually shot at the end of the film for us. I think it was Laurie's last day. It was so brilliant doing it in that way because we had just laid the groundwork for this opening scene. They laugh, they cry, they scream at each other, and Lady Bird throws herself out of a car.
I want to go where culture is, like
how
New
in the world
York,
did I raise such a
or at least
snob?
Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the woods.
Get into those schools anyway.
Mom,
You can't even pass your driver's test.
because you wouldn't let me practice
The way
enough.
that you work, or the way that you don't work, you're not even worth state tuition, Christine.
My name is Lady Bird.
Well, actually, it's not, and it's ridiculous.
Call me
because your
Lady
name
Bird
is
like you
Christine.
said you would.
You should just go to City College. You know, with your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail and then back to City College and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up.
That like we're meeting them at the worst moment of their relationship. But what was great? What were the good times? When were they close? When was the last time that they were really close? Like, because I think if you didn't have that kind of baseline of love, that none of it would make sense. It would just be cruel. It would just be people fighting. And Lord knows we don't need more films of just women fighting for no reason. It was like, underneath this, there's a great deal of love. So in a funny way, the rehearsal process, I mean, outside of doing the specific work of the script, but to build the characters was to build the love of their relationship, because that's what you're kind of getting back to.
I think when you're in a scene like that where the person you're acting with is so good and so sharp and present, you feel like, it kind of feels athletic. You're like hyper aware of everything and you're so in tune with each other. So it's great. It's great when you just know a scene so well and it's like in your bones.
So, you're not interested in any Catholic colleges?
No way. I want schools like Yale, but not Yale because I probably couldn't get in.
You definitely couldn't get in.
I kept coming back to the phrase of stumbling into beauty in language that they wouldn't think that they were saying anything particularly profound, but because they were just being themselves and talking, that you would stumble into something that was profound by accident. And I think that happens all the time when people talk to each other, or even the visual language of the film. I wanted it to feel plain, but beautiful, but not because we were dressing it up in any kind of elaborate way. And that sort of ability to let things be as they are and find what's great about them as they are is pretty essential to me.
She has a big heart, your mom. She's warm, but she's also kind of scary.
You can't be scary and warm.
I tend to think of movies as like gifts, and I wanted this to be a gift, and I wanted it to be unwrapped, with each layer being a new thing, so that when you get the gift, you're delighted that you have one, and then the card, and then the bows, and everything to me about it was a sort of, in a way, a presentation, even though it was this naturalism and this realism, that it would have a formalism in the style that would feel like we were taking care of the audience.